Okay. So, today we're going to learn how to partition points that divide segments into two or more proportional parts. So, if it's a ratio of 1 to 1, then how many parts are there? If the ratio is 1 to 1. How many total parts are there if the ratio is 1 to 1? 2. Yes, 2. There are 2 parts. So you're finding the point that is 1/2 of the way from M to P. And the direction matters. If it says ME, sorry, I meant M to E. If it says segment ME, then you have to go from M to E. So we talked about how what we're doing is the midpoint, but I want you to think about it a different way if you didn't figure it out already. And maybe you did think about it this way. Instead of a formula, I want you to think about the coordinate plane we have. So if I take a line, I'm actually going to be using my dotted lines for this. And make a right triangle by going over, that did not use the dotted line, and up from M to E. If the horizontal distance from M to E is from 7 to -5, and that is 12. So this distance is 12. What is half of 12? 6. That means that the point P is 6 units over from M, so it would be at 1. I'm going to make a mark here, or maybe I'll also write it here. So X is 1. And then the vertical distance from M to E is from -2 to 6, which is 8 units. And what is 1/2 of 8? 4. So my y coordinate then would be up 4 units from point M. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And right there at +2. So y equals 2. And the coordinate is 1, 2. So maybe you thought about it like that without doing all of the counting and adding. Or maybe you just use the formula. And maybe you did what I did, but maybe a simpler way. Okay, but that's the point that would divide it into a ratio of 1 to 1. And then what about 1 to 3 though? 1 to 3 would mean that there are a total of 4 parts. And if it says 1 to 3, that means our point is 1/4 of the way from M to E. And 1/4 of the way would just be a half of the point that you already found. So what is the halfway point or the midpoint of MP? Robert? 1/2. Of this segment MP. Right here. Amelia?
4, 0.
Yeah, 4, 0. That's what I'm talking about. And I could do the same thing, draw up and over and count half of up and half of over and find the midpoint. But that would be 4, 0.
Wait, why does the ratio of 1, 3 mean that it would be a 4?
Because it's 1 part, 3 parts. So 1 part, 3 parts means there are 4 total parts.
So you add them
together. So it's 1/4. Yeah, you add them together to figure out how many total parts there are. And since we're 1 to 3, that means we're finding the point that's 1/4 of the whole thing. The other part would be 3/4. So all of this is 3/4, right? Because it's a half plus the 4 that we took out. Robert?
Why can't you just use the midpoint?
Yeah.
Well, okay, look at the question on the bottom. We're going to skip the box. We're not doing the formula. Look at the question on the bottom. It says a ratio of 5 to 2. You can't use the midpoint formula because how many parts are there? 7. There are 7 parts. So I have a graph paper. I always forget about the graph. So once I get out the graph paper, I want you to draw this question. Not that question. That question.
Got black, I got white.
Because it says the coordinate was my ME, and then I said the direction that it says M units from M 1/4 would be that.
Sorry. Oh.
What about land?
Okay, stop hitting each other before we please. Actually, you know what? No, this one has integer answers. I'm gonna stick with all of the only ones that have integer answers because the ones with fractions are just a little too complicated for us right now. You can try them on your own if you're interested, but I'm gonna go ahead and graph this so, and also make my window smaller. So zoom out a little bit. We're doing the example on the bottom. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're just crossing off the box that had the formula with it. Okay, so I'm going to plot 10, negative 11, which is about there. And then negative 4, 10, which is about there. So this is E at 10, negative 11. I like to write the coordinates next to the point. That way it's easy for me to think about like how many over and how many up we have to go. And then this would be negative 4, 10 is point F. Okay, so this is a ratio of 5 to 2, which means that, I'm going to connect my points here before I keep going. Okay, that means the fraction we are going to use is 5/7. So we want to find 5/7 of the horizontal distance, 5/7 of the vertical distance, and that will help us find our partition point. So next I'm going to draw my dotted lines. And you don't have to make yours dotted. I just like to because it helps to differentiate between that and my line segment. Okay, I like to split this up into the horizontal part and the vertical part. So the horizontal part, first we're going to figure out how much horizontally the distance is from E to F. So you look at the x's, right? So 10 to negative 4. What's that distance? Hattie? 14. And phew, it's divisible by 7 because our fraction is 5/7. If it wasn't, that would mean that we would have to deal with fractions. So I'm going to find 5/7 of 14. 5/7 of 14 is what? Yeah. Yes, 10. So that means that instead of, you know how F is 14 units away, our point is only going to be 10 units away. So if it's 10 units away from E, what x value will it have? Yes, because this is 10 and 10 units. We have to go to the left to get to point F, so it'll be at 0. So our x coordinate is 0. And like I said, this is a little bit of a tricky topic. After doing this like 4 or 5 times, I think you'll get the hang of it. Then we have to figure out the vertical distance. So vertically, oops, oh no. Do a different color. From negative 11 to 10, how much is that? Robert? 21. 5/7 of 21 is 3. 3, not 30. I'm sorry, 15. 15. Because 21 divided by 7 is 3, and then 3 times 5 is 15. That means I have to go 15 units up from negative 11. 15 units up from negative 11 would be what? 4. 4. Negative 11 plus 15 is 4.
Oh.
Negative 11 plus 15. So you kind of have to like keep track of what your fraction is and how much, or where your graph is and how much you need to move over and up, and then like move into the different quadrants. The ones that have, right now we're doing a problem that crosses all 4 quadrants, which those are usually the hardest ones. But yeah, the x would be at 4, or the y would be at 4. That means the coordinate is 0, 4. And we always plot it to double check. So that means from E to P is 5/7 of the whole segment. And then from P to F is 2/7 of the whole segment. If you look on the other page, there's this really complicated formula. I don't like that formula because I don't want you to memorize something. I just want you to be able to like manipulate the graph and figure it out that way. I think it's easier in the long run than using a random formula. Sean,
You have to use both horizontal.
do you have to use both what?
The horizontal.
Well, you have to know the whole coordinate, right?
Just do one. Just go on.
Yeah, I guess maybe the only problem is if it was a fraction. I'm not going to give you any fractions. And now I wish you wouldn't have asked that, because now everyone can think that they could build it. Show your work. Show your work. Yep, you don't understand what he was asking, so everybody just pretend.
No, I definitely Please.
I mean, let's find out if it works, okay? We're not doing the next example because it's a fraction. Yes, Sandra.
I understand it now.
How do you know that P will be 0, 4 instead of 6, -5?
He's got to find
Because it says from, it says that divides EF, and you always go in that order. Okay. Also, I guess technically there are questions on your homework that used to say, okay, listen, they used to say this, and I think I whited it out. It said to find two coordinates. Oh yeah, find the possible locations. And I said, I crossed it off and I wrote find the coordinate. So just like do only one and put it in the direction. Like if it says RS, then it goes in that direction from R to S. Does that make sense? One I just don't want you doing too much work that you don't need to do. You're welcome. Okay, we're gonna skip number 2 on the next page and try number 3. So do you see how this kind of relates to what you learned yesterday with the finding the points if it's a dilation that's not centered at the origin? Sometimes you have to figure out like the horizontal and the vertical distance and like double it or divide it in half or do 2/3 of it to figure out where your new point is. So this is kind of along the same lines. It's just only one. It's a dilation sort of just a segment. So anyways, let's do the next question. -4, 5. Graph is impossible to read. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 12, 13. The next page, number 3. Okay, first thing is I'm going to make my triangle. Go over and up. It doesn't matter also how you write your triangle. Like you could make it go up and over. Like you could make the triangle above it instead of below. It doesn't matter how you make your triangle. And then I'm going to look at the ratio that we're dividing it into. Ratio of 1 to 7. that means the fraction we're going to use will be what? Sander?
1/8.
Yes. My thought was about 8. 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to figure out horizontal distance. So from -4 to 12, that is 16 units. So 1/8 of 16 is 2. And if I take the first x coordinate -4 and I add 2, we get -2. So our x coordinate is going to be at -2. And then, so the Sean method is to do that and go up. And I guess it might not work if you're doing it by hand because your graph might not be 100% accurate. Also, I'm going to teach you how to sketch it. So if you're sketching it, then like you're really not going to know. So you can know if your graph is really, really accurate. Mine doesn't seem to be because it's not hitting exactly 1. So I would just double check, and I would take the vertical. So the vertical is 8, and 1/8 of 8 is 1. So if I take this y value that we already have and I add 1, because we need to go up, then that's 6. So it is at -2, 6. Which doesn't really look like what I have because my line is a little above that, but it's not 100% accurate because it's hard for me to graph that on the such a small coordinate plane. But anyways, the partition point is -2, 6. I don't. That's not even.
I did the Sean. I love the Sean.
Yes. Let me see.
Do you have to graph it?
You do have to show your work. I will show you how to sketch also, but you do have to show the sketch.
Could I just show like that I
This is my sketch for this question. That's at least what you have to show. Does that make sense?
so wait, so could I just take 12, subtract -4, aka adding 4, and then just say okay 16, and then we times that by 1/8, which equals 2, and then we add 2 to -4, and that gives us -2. Can I just do that?
Yeah, but I still want you to show the graph. Please. There's only 8 questions. Okay, we're not doing the next 2 questions. Flip your page over and go to number 4. Unless you want to do one with a fraction. Okay.
Why is there 2?
So this one I'm going to show you how to sketch it. So to sketch it, and you don't have to sketch them. You could just do them all on the graph paper, but sketching it might be quicker, and it's not like it has to be accurate because you just have to be able to count like from one coordinate to another in your head. Or subtract. You're just subtracting the coordinates to figure out the distance. So -2, 8 is point S. I do like to label my points. And then 10, -4. Okay, so I'm gonna, oh gosh, gonna draw a line segment going down and over. I'm gonna fix this one a little bit. The ratio that we have for this problem is 1/4. So if it says 1/4, that just means 1/4, like that. So you're not doing like 1/5. Just a quarter of the way is a fourth. Okay, and it's from S to T. So we're going from up here and then down. So we'll be going down and then over a fourth of each direction. So You can find your horizontal first. I'm going to find the vertical first because we're going down and then over. Okay, so vertical, we've got a distance of what? 8 to negative 4 is 12. So 1/4 of 12 is 3. And then 8, I have to subtract 8 minus 3, which is 5. So if I go down 3 from 8, we're at 5. And then you would go over. Over how many? Well, this distance is also 12. So for the horizontal distance, 1/4 of 12 is also 3. And if my x value is at negative 2 and I add 3 to it, then we get 1. So down 3 over 3 would land us at the point 1, 5.
How'd you get comma? How'd you get 5? It should be comma 3, right?
No, because we had 8 and we subtracted 3 to get 5.
How'd you get 1?
Because we have to go down from S to T. We're going down 3 over 3. So this was 3, 3, and 3. So you go down 3 over 3.
If we wanted to just use the formula,
What formula?
the one that gives us.
I wouldn't.
See, because I'm really bad at drawing, so. In my head, it was really bad. Like, I'm really bad.
What part?
Like I got all the way up until negative 2 plus 3 equals 1. Yeah.
Okay, you see how. Okay, you see how we got the 3? So this way, 1/4 of 12 is 3. So I need to go 3 units over.
Yeah.
So this is negative 2. Negative 2. So negative 2, add 3, I'm at 1. That's right, that's where that comes from.
But that one was not
Yeah.
Because we are going down and over to get from S to T. So I have to subtract and then add. If you're that's why I don't like formulas too, is because like in after the instruction, it's slowing down and it's slowing up. And then like the formula can make it confusing if you just like look at it on the coordinate plane.
Is example 5 a fraction?
Example 5, yes, we're gonna do number 1 next when it says now you.
How is this connected to what we did yesterday with like the points that we
Because like were you doing the examples in the homework where it says 2/3, like the scale factor is 2/3. So you had to find the distance this way and down, and you had to find 2/3 of that. Right? And then figure out where your point would be if it was only 2/3 instead of the whole distance.
Okay. That makes sense.
All right, we're gonna skip to number 1 next, where it says now you. The Regents questions. I just kind of put a hodgepodge of different questions on here. Okay, so let's get this one started. And maybe after we graph it, I'll give you a couple minutes to figure it out. I think you can do it. The homework is on this worksheet. It's the last 2 pages. So 1 page front and back, 8 questions. No. Sean, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Wait, what did he say?
He said, I don't know. Fair question. Or fair answer, I guess.
When you were younger, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Teacher.
Remember she switched her major a bunch of times?
Oh yeah, she was gonna be a pet teacher.
Okay, shh. Remember, a pet teacher?
What do you want to be?
We talked about later.
Doctor.
Oh my gosh, you don't want to
A lawyer.
Oh yeah. Thought it was a
No, I do not like arguing. Okay, so you got your coordinates. Then we're gonna go up and over. Shh. Ratio is 2/3. That means what fraction of the way is going to be our point? 2/5. 2/5.
Oh, that makes more sense on
Because
why.
that's the slope.
And notice from A to B, it goes up 5/10, right?
I did get that.
And they're divisible both by 5.
Yes.
So if I'm going up 5 and 2/5 of that is 2, that means that the partition point will be up 2. But if it's going over 10, what's 2/5 of 10?
2/5 of 10 is 4.
Is 4. So you need to go up. So find those pieces and then go up 2 over 4, and then you will find your point.
I got 2 common.
Or,
Wait.
if you're going up 2 from -5, you should be at -3. And then if you go over 4, you should be at -6. Or sorry,
I have a
-2.
question.
Yes.
Couldn't there technically be 2 answers?
So we don't
Um,
get that right.
We are doing the direction of A to B.
Oh, so
A,
there's
it says AP to PB is 2 to 3.
Oh, I didn't ask.
Okay. So this is 5. 2/5 of 5 is 2. I'm figuring out the vertical right now. So I'm going to take the y coordinate, -5, and add 2 to get -3. So -3 is the new y coordinate. And then that's the vertical. For horizontal, 2/5 of 10 is 4. So I take -6 and I add 4, which would give us -2. So -2, -3.
That's why this bill, can you please not separate us into sectors?
We literally got it right.
Okay. I want you to try number 2. Number 2 is easy because it's the same ratio, but it's all in the first quadrant, so you don't have to worry about any negatives. So go ahead and give that one a try.